Getting the boat ready for the Texas 200. I'm checking out my safety, my jump bag. So I thought maybe I'd go over what I got in here with you guys. Some people ask me just how you prepare for, getting out here on the overnighters. What I do is I got a water bag, waterproof bag. I call them damp bags. People call them dry bags. This is actually from my kayaking days. And they inflate. Both sides will inflate. You just put your paddle in here and you inflate it on each side. And it gives you support to get back in the boat. What it does for me, since I just got one, like got it laying around doing nothing, I never used it in the kayak. So now it lets me put all my emergency supplies inside there, and then I can blow each side up and actually have a flotation device should I want it. So it makes for double duty. I like that. Next we'll go over flares. You gotta have your rescue flares. These are a couple that are outdated by a couple of years, but you hang on to them anyway. This is a fresh pack here. Got them off I'm gonna say Amazon. You can get them any place. But it's all to make sure it's Coast Guard approved. These are good in November of this year. Then I'll have to replace it. Then I'll keep these. These guys will go in with that, and I'll have another fresh batch. And usually you keep compounding them because if you need it, there's no such thing as too many flares. So you always have the flares. It's by law. Another item, something you can do is spare lying around, whatever you got going here. But have some paracord. Put it in a Ziploc so it stays dry, doesn't get fussy. One's got a little carabiner, but it's for emergency use, lashing something together, whatever you got to do. This stuff could save your life. And it's a good idea to have something on this order right here, just for whatever might come up, even if it's making shelter on a little island or lashing a part of a boat together. And these things are cheap. It's an Ever Ready, whatever. It's a Chinese thing. But LED, and it's a hand cranker. It's coming on. I gave it a 30 seconds of crank. Half hour ago, an hour ago, but you can crank the hell out of it, and that way it doesn't take batteries. So no matter what, you've got a light source. As long as you can play with your crank, you can keep it turned on. I've had laying around for decades. It's been with me. I had a pair of them. I think we got drunk one night and turned one loose just to watch it in the water, but it makes it's powder in here. It makes a fluorescent green. The water turned fluorescent green, like this right here would make an area 100, 150 feet around you fluorescent green. So if you got someone in the air looking for you, if it's a helicopter going by or whatnot, plane, you hit the water with this, you open it up. I've taped it shut to be waterproof. But you open it up and throw that in the water, people will see you. These aren't bad. If I didn't already have one from, when I had my bigger boat, I used to sail the bigger boats, and I had these in there. But I'm glad I have it. I'd probably go buy another one if I didn't. Alright, electronic doodads. You got to have some tape. I got some other tape in the boat, but this is the backup. These are the USB go into cigarette lighter adapters. Actually, I'm getting rid of the cigarette light adapters and going straight USB on the boat, so this really is becoming outdated. But have backup. If you're using any kind of an adapter, have a couple backups, because they get wet, they don't work. What happens? All hell breaks loose. You got a couple, and they don't weigh anything. Everyone's got these things laying around the drawer, spare ones. Throw them in the bag. Lighter. Everyone needs fire. Now this is the one that I just took out. I didn't have it in a baggie. It was just tossed in, you can see it's shot. Moisture got to it. So now this one's going into, this one works just fine. It's going into this Ziploc and getting rolled up. And probably a piece of tape around that to seal it up. So here you go. You got an outboard. You got the kill switch on the lanyard they put around your wrist or whatnot. Well, take a spare. The motors all come with spares. Take a spare, put it on a floating keychain. So if yours goes overboard, you can still get your car. Your main one, you lose it for some reason, you can still get your engine started, and you can get home. You drop it, it'll float. So take your spare key and put it in your safety equipment, so you'll have it. I got the Suzuki 2.5 horsepower, and this is what they give you from the factory. It's a pretty good little toolkit. You got your plug wrench, other such stuff, a pair of cheesy pliers, Chinese pliers. This will have a regular screwdriver on the inside. This is extra rope for the pull start, so if that breaks, and a bag to put it in. And it all is pretty well do most anything you want on the boat with that. And I just changed, every spring you change it. I just changed the spark plug. So I took the spark plug out of it that I took out of it, which still looks good, put inside a Ziploc, making sure it's taped up and watertight. And that is the motor end of it that's in the safety gear. And then all of that I put inside this whatever rice blend, whatever thing. And it keeps it all in there, and it's another watertight container situation for it. And that's where I'll put the lighter too. And it keeps it all in one place and all bundled up. Doesn't hurt to throw a zip tie in or two. The toolkit for the engine. Wrapped up spark plug, or a lighter. And that's the wrapped up spark plug. And if you get room, well, put the electrics in there because the moisture doesn't like that. And I might even be able to get that on top. And that is all the loosey-goosey stuff. Well, except that. I'm going to have to repack a little more. But that's where it's going. It is a little reshuffling. It all went in there. So all that stuff's inside this plastic container. Plus it's wrapped. It's double wrapped. Ready to go inside the dry, damp bag. And then it been behind the seat of the boat. I always put it, like on the Windrider, I put it on behind the seat, so I know I can reach it off. But if trouble comes, I don't find it in the nose or something. It's always back there, out of the way. Now standalone, I've had this around for years, and a couple of different boats it's gone through, and I've updated the flares. But it's an Orion flare gun, 12 gauge, and I'd love to get another three pieces, but I bought this for the Windrider, or probably not, but I had it, so I pack it, so it stays in the back. You got to watch your laws. Like when I was sailing the Great Lakes, you couldn't cross into Canadian waters with that. It was considered a gun. Other than that, you're all good in the States. I imagine Mexico might have an issue if you get into Mexican waters, and I'm down towards the Mexican side now, but I never cross into Mexican water. And with the addition of the obligatory first aid kit, the bag is not too full, but just right. And in the Windrider, you got a nice little area back here. That's where I can just slide in that waterproof case, and that kind of keeps anything up off the moisture. Throw this guy in. And there's still room for the collapsible spare paddle. It comes with a boat, and that's your emergency. That's what I do for emergency stuff. And then, like I said, I always have I got a couple of whistles up here to meet Coast Guard rules, and it's good to have if something gets coming at you. The whistle sometimes can help you out. Another item I carry, just because I have it, I wouldn't go get it for this, but it's a cap for one of the AMAs, the inspection plates in the AMAs. I got a spare one, so I always throw it in there in case for some reason I lose one on the boat while I'm out and about. Another thing I do with my Windrider is these are cheap off Amazon. They're skin diving, scuba diving knife, plastic sheath, one hand out, double edge, got the hook there for cutting lines, serrated on the back, sharp point. This is a sturdy little knife, and I don't think it was 10 bucks. It's been riding with me for a lot of years here. It sits right at my knee, and so it's always there if I need it, and it's come in handy several times. You know, if you got to cut a line real quick or anything, it's a good safety item to have. Just it's hanging at my knee. It's cheap, and it could save your life. So that's what I keep in my jump bag. Everyone's needs vary, so you know, you put in what you need, what you don't need, and you know, it morphs over time with things I find and I throw in there. But throw in the comments any ideas you have, extra things that could go in there, or stuff you think's too much overkill, and open the discussion on what you carry in your emergency supply bag.